Hello lovely people, welcome to my channel, The Cockney Crafter. I'm Ali and today I want to do a little craft with me, not very long because I've got the children and grandchildren coming this afternoon after school and staying for the weekend, so I won't be able to do any crafting, I don't think, because they keep me very busy. So I thought I'd do a little craft with me. So if you want to craft with me, I'm using up some of my little offcuts. Let's see, that are about 3.5 by 4.5 roughly. So I'm using up some little offcuts now, and I'm going to make a couple of these little tags and the doily pockets that I put them in, and I reinforce them. So if you want to craft with me, you're going to need some little bits of card, some coffee dyed or tea dyed paper if you want to back your card, like I do. If you don't, you can just skip that. Doilies, and this thin plastic, or like you can use sheets of acetate, you know, like what you get your stickers on. I save them so that when all my stickers have gone, the plastic does come in handy, because I use that to line these doily pockets that I make, because otherwise, especially if you've tea or coffee dyed them, they become ever so fragile, these paper doilies, once they've been dyed. So I like to reinforce mine with some clear plastic, so it's totally hidden, you wouldn't know unless you touch it, and every time the pocket's sliding in and out, it's not putting any stress on these finer pieces of the doily. So yes, some clear plastic of some kind or another, and scissors, glue, and anything you might want to trim them with, ribbon, little bits of trim, diamantes, anything that you want to trim it with or decorate it with, make a little tab at the top. So they're the items that you're going to need. So let me just grab my glue. Oh, sorry for the noise, that was my paper cutter over there. Right, so glue and scissors. Right, so I made this little template for a little journaling card. I call it my ice cream cone journaling card for these obvious reasons. I cut this out not to be a template but to be an actual journaling card, and then I realised poor little birdie's head was chopped off. Now that's not a good look, even for a bird on a piece of paper, is it? You know, so that was that one out the window, because I'd chopped his poor little head off. But it was exactly the shape that I wanted. I liked the curves, and so I thought I'll hang on to that, and then any future ones I make, it's just a whole lot easier now that this first one I just use it to go around. So if I'll place this on, so you can either make a template out of any kind of paper, and once you've got the curves to exactly what you want, to keep hold of it, or just do it freehand. I mean, it's not difficult, it's just cutting a cone with little cloud shapes at the top. So I'll put it on the straight edge there at the bottom, and excuse my hands that shake, they always do that, that's just how I am. I've just got to cut round, sorry. yeah, so as I said, I've got the grandchildren coming this afternoon, and they are 7, 2 and 1. My eldest daughter has got 2 and my youngest has got 1. And yeah, they come over and stay every other weekend, and they stayed every week through the in the school holidays that have just finished, which was wonderful. I didn't do a lot of crafting in that time, but I was so happy enjoying myself with the kids that I didn't even notice. I'm just going to trim this a bit because I couldn't quite get in with those bigger scissors to where I wanted. And so yeah, they're coming over today, so my son's just took me shopping and brought me back, and I thought I'll do a quick little bit of work on a couple of the journals that I'm doing. I do want to do these style tags in the journals that I'm making at the moment, so I thought I might as well turn the camera on and show you how I reinforce my doilies, and you can do it at home with me, because I love doing that. I love watching people and making either what they're making or my own spin on what they're making. I like to sort of take inspiration and then think, oh right, how can I use that in what I'm doing at present. I'm going to leave that curve until I've cut this bit off, because I find it easier to flip it over. And just put it there. So yeah, I kept this one, like I said, because cut poor little bird's head off, but I'd already cut out a couple and the curve hadn't gone exactly how I wanted, and I kept trimming, retrimming, trimming, and ended up with something so little that it weren't worth using. So that's why after I got this one, the exact shape I wanted, I kept it. Now look, I'm having to go back in with this one because I didn't flip it over, and once I get to a certain point, trying to get into fiddly places I find difficult. So yeah, I like to just flip it over. So right, I've got my 2 pieces like that. I'll stick the card on in a minute. First of all, I want to place one and work out exactly where I want it. Now I like that curve to be coming up a bit at the back, so I'll put that there, and I don't need my bone folder. This is so flimsy and delicate, just pressing down firmly once is enough to sort of give you a nice crease. You can see exactly where you need to be. You see that's folded normal paper. I couldn't ever get a crease that crisp with just my fingers. And wrap this bit. Now I don't want loads of bulk. This is where it will end there. So then now I can lose some of this. There's that bit, and along now. So I've got a bit here, and that will fold in and fold up. Actually, I might lose a bit more of that. Just these little edges where you've made the crease, just you can cut them off. You don't have to if you don't want to, but because it is only thin, it is only doily, but so that the bottom don't seem that much thicker than the top, I prefer to do it like that. Oh, just lose that bit as well because it's going astray. Right, so that will be Oh, where's he gone? That way, that way. And that bit will be our flap that we fold up and glue. So, no, that will go in that way, otherwise I won't have a base to my pocket. Right, so that will fold up frontwards. Okay, so how I use this is, right, this is a little bag. It's leftover packaging. I don't know how well you can see on the camera because it's transparent and shiny, and I've got a light on because it's gone quite dark. But yeah, I've got my hand in the bag. If you haven't got a bag, you just cut this out a few times, like 4 times. But because I've got a bag, I'm going to place, because I've got a little split, so I don't want to use the bit that's split. I'll go in from about here. Right. Now, because it's so slippery, because it's shiny plastic, I'm going to hold it in place with just a little bulldog clip there, because I know that I will end up losing my grip and dropping it, moving it. Right, so sorry, I moved my whole thing there. Right. So yeah, I just want to cut this out. And it hasn't got to be perfect because you can't see it once it is in the doily. No, that's that bit. That's a bit big. So I'm going to move that over a tad because it needs to be a bit smaller than the doily because it's a liner. So we get our doily back, and the back bit is going to come up nearly as tall as the back. The front bit where we've got our crossover, you're going to want to cut a V into the front. Like I said, it hasn't got to be perfect at all because no one's going to see it because it's clear. So just cut a rough V, and then we take our glue, just a tiny little bit. You don't have to go everywhere, just hold it in on the back so we get our big sides that we haven't cut into. Line up the crease with the crease down there and lay our clear plastic acetate style stuff on that bit, and then making sure that it will definitely fit our tag. Fold the bottom up and then fold this over, and I find it easier that once you've got it all folded up, that is when I will just put some dabs of glue. I'll take this back out for a sec, and I will put some dabs of glue here and there, just gluing our doily on to our plastic from the other side, so that when we're sliding in our ticket now, our little tab, journaling card, that was the word I was really looking for. When we're sliding our journaling card, there is no stress at all on the paper because it is stuck front and back to our little clear plastic. And so when it's finally in, if you go along, because It's very hard to see, but if there's any tiny bits that are coming up higher than the back of the doily that you don't want, you just trim them up afterwards. And that will reinforce it. So I'm going to be backing mine onto coffee dyed paper, but you don't have to. So for now I'm going to skip that bit. I'll just do another one for my other journaling card, and then we'll come back to, sorry, I just flicked my light off. We'll come back to decoration. Okay, so we've got our other piece. I'm going to use my template again. I'm going to have to, let's go over a bit, that's it. Right. And I'll roughly cut this out. I'll trim it up better in a sec once I've got the bulk of it off. Just make that neater. And coming down this side. That's us done. Right. So, again, we're going to put it where we think the doily looks nice with our tag. And then keeping the tag in place, we'll fold around it. So we're folding it in on itself. And up at the back. I'll just go in first and then up at the back like that. And we'll lose a bit of the bulk again. We can cut a bit off here as well. Right. So if we take out our tag, our folded piece. No, that only feels like one bit. Oh, that's weird. Is it stuck? Ah, it was stuck to it. Okay. So we'll take the first piece. We just put a tiny bit of glue here and there. And lay on a clear plastic. And then I'll put back my template back in so that I don't glue the doily onto that. And right, I could just put a bit on this clear. And we're going to fold in on itself, flip over, and then just secure that last bit. Oh, no, that's a bit wonky. And a little bit on the bottom. I think these look so pretty on the page. If you wanted to reinforce it more than this, you can use, which I have done before, Mod Podge, and coat the whole thing. There's a bit too much glue. I'm going to wipe off the excess. Yeah, you can coat the whole thing in Mod Podge once you've done it. Like you have to do, when you're doing it like that, you do the first bit of acetate, you put it in, flip it over, and you would paint on the Mod Podge onto it like that, or put a bit on and then put the doily on, and then just give this bit an extra bit, and then you have to leave it to dry, and then you put in the second bit and do the same, like paint around these bits through the little gaps with Mod Podge. I have done that before. It gives a much stronger doily, it changes the texture, and so it goes quite leathery, but this works just as well and reinforces without changing any of the texture of the outer doily or the appearance, you know, whereas Mod Podge, even matte Mod Podge, will change the appearance slightly, and obviously the gloss Mod Podge will give it a sheen. So, right, I'll just tear that bit because I couldn't get the scissors in there without ruining the doily. I'm just trimming up the front bit of doily so that now our tags fit lovely into there. So, oh, don't let me have glued this in, sticking it right down. That's it. No, it's fine. Right, let's check our other one, that that's not stuck together. No, that's perfect. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'll move those to one side. So they're our pockets, and they're nice and strong now because they're lined with plastic, but they look just as lovely and delicate. I've still got a bit there that I don't like. Right, that's it. They look nice and delicate, and they feel nice on the outside, nice and delicate, because we haven't done anything to them themselves. We've just lined them with invisible plastic. So let's put them to the side, and I'll just do one of these so that we're not reaching in and maybe tearing the delicate pieces of outer doily if we keep shoving our big fingers in and out. I like to put a little bit of trim on the top, or a little bit of ribbon like that. So I'm thinking, what's my other one? Right, I think I'm going to do the yellow on that one because of that lovely yellow butterfly. So on this one, I'm just gonna eyeball the middle, so roughly about there. Just want a tiny little dot of blue for one of my flowers of my trim, and give it a little squeeze, and then exactly the same on the other side. There we are. Right. And that's that one done. All I've got to do, if I want to, is put the coffee dyed paper on the back, so I'd glue it on and then cut round it. But at the moment I'm just going to leave that like that. And what I like to do is put a little bit of a decorative edge on the bottom. Now I could use matching flowers for that one. Actually, I think I might do that. Right, let's grab my jar full of trim. Here's that one, isn't it? Let's measure. Right, I'll use 3. I save all my jars, jam jars, pickle jars, everything. I save them, and I keep trim in them. So, because sometimes when you buy a big lot, it's not practical if you want to keep your area tidy to have everything out. So I just cut off bits and bobs, and I either keep them in a jam jar right behind me, or with some of my trims I make these spools and wrap little bits around and just keep them in my nan's old fruit bowl. It's a small fruit bowl, and I'll keep it right next to me with little trims that I think I might need, like some of my most popular ones that I use. So anyway, right, that will be that one, and so trim and the bottom trim match nicely. I think on this one, let's have a look. This one I'm going to be using a bit of yellow ribbon, so I only need a tiny bit again. Let's see, I'll use that much. I'll make it a little tiny bit bigger to go down onto the paper a bit. Yeah. Eyeball the middle again. Oh, the glue has grown a little skin. A little tiny dab on the front. Right, don't worry about the fade bit, you're not going to see it, I'll show you why. And flip that baby over. A little bit on the back, it's got a little string there of glue. And down. Right, I'll just hold that a second. So we've just got a tiny little loop there, and what I'm going to do, this one I'm going to put a little bit of bling, so right, I'm just going to cut 2 by 2. And try and get rid of the little bits of string on that side. Sorry, this must be incredibly boring watching this bit. Yeah. Oh, that's it. Right, I'm going to put a tiny little bit on here. And glue and those 4 little bits of bling there. That's pretty. And then on here, so that it all ties in nicely. That is very wonky. I wanted a straight bottom. Right, let's pull it up again. A bit more. Let's see. Ah, that's it. That's where I want it. Right, so I'm just going to glue this little bit where I went a little bit wrong, done it on the wonk. We don't want that. Well, you might. I don't know. I want it straight. So that's that. And then, well, straight-ish. Right, now I've got a bit sticking out. I'll just get rid of that, baby. Right. Now, do I want single or double row? No, I just want a single row rather. How many do I need? Right, I'll do 5, and then that should be plenty. A little bit maybe overhang either end, but that will be cool. I want it a bit longer rather than a bit shorter. But you don't have to do this bit at all if you don't want to. Like I said, I like watching people doing things and then thinking, oh yeah, I might do that. But instead of doing that, I might do this. Or instead of doing that part, I'm going to skip that and then I'm going to add in another part. You know, I think it's great mixing and matching things up, you know. Sometimes I'll see a couple of ideas, a couple of different people working one after the other when I'm binging on YouTube videos, and then I'll mix up half of one idea with half of the other, for what suits me, you know. Right, I've just grabbed a wet wipe. I can't stand being sticky. Which for a crafter, weird, isn't it? But because we're always sticky, come on, let's face it. But yeah, I try not to be as much as possible, and especially matte, I don't want that sticky. But right, that's it, that's me unstuck. And so yeah, there we go with my reinforced doily pockets. So I hope you liked that. I'm sorry it was just a quick one. I didn't stick the coffee dyed paper on and ink it or anything, because I'll do that off camera. We all know how to glue one piece of paper to the other, and we all know what inking looks like. So I might have done it from start to finish normally, but I've got the grandchildren coming in about an hour, so I want to have time to make myself a quick cup of coffee and have a little bit of a chill before chaos ensues in my living room and my garden. So I hope that this has sort of gave you like a little bit of an idea of how to make those really flimsy doilies not so flimsy, and I really hope that you will like and subscribe to my channel, and yeah, I'll be back in a day or two with something else, another little bit of crafting with me, so I can carry on working on those journals with you. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye.